Hello everyone. In this video, we'll go over the Wordly Wise Book 3 Lesson 7 words. You can follow along at home using your book. Let's get started. Our first word is act, and there are a lot of different ways that we can use this word act. The first way is as a noun, and it means something that is done. For example, giving clothes and food to the family who lost everything in the house fire was a generous act. So, in this sentence, the word act is talking all about this action of giving clothes and food to a family. So, an act is just something someone does. Another example would be like in this picture here. I could say the firefighter's brave act saved a family. So the thing that he did is called the act. And we can use act also as a verb in the same way. The meaning is still to do something, but now the act is the actual action. For example, Ellie acted at once when I asked her to help me move the sofa. So she acted right away. It means that she did something right away. Another example of that would be, we need to act quickly before the storm arrives. Or I could say, she acted immediately when she saw the smoke. So you're just doing something, and usually we talk about how someone acts right away. We can also use act as a noun to mean a show that is put on. For example, one act in the Spring Festival will be a Guatemalan folk dance. So in this case, an act is talking about a performance that is part of a show or part of a play. For example, in festivals or in talent shows, there might be a lot of different performances. There might be a magic show, there might be someone who's doing a dance, or many other kinds of performances. And those are the ones that we call acts. Each different one is called an act. And as a verb, we can also use act to mean to play a part in a play, a movie, or on television. The example says, in The Wizard of Oz, Bert Lahr acted the part of the Cowardly Lion. So this time we are using act to talk about the action of being the actor or the actress in a movie. They are playing a specific part, such as a lion in The Wizard of Oz. And lastly, act can be used as a noun to mean one of the main parts of a play. For example, during the interval between Acts 1 and 2, we can walk outside for some fresh air. Especially in a play, because the people are actually acting on the stage, it's broken up into different parts or acts. And then usually between each act, there might be a short break or a pause. So a play might have 2, 3, 4, or even 5 acts. And then each act of a play is often telling a different part of the story. Like it might be the rising action act or the climax act where the most exciting part of the story happens, or maybe the resolution act. So in this case, act is just talking about those different parts of a play. The next word is additional. Additional is an adjective and it means added or extra. So when something is additional, it's more than what you already have, more than before, usually one more or even a few more. The example says, Andres brought an additional bottle of water to the tennis court because the day was quite warm. So if the weather is very warm and you're outside playing a sport, of course, it's a good idea to have your water bottle, but you might even want to bring an additional water bottle since the weather is hotter. So it's like adding one more to what you already have. Another example could be something like a towel at the beach. You might bring your regular towels for drying your body, But then you might also bring additional towels to lay on the sand and then sit on top of those towels. So it's more than what you already brought. And lastly, I could say something like, we needed additional chairs when more guests arrived. So if you already have a certain amount of chairs, but then more people come, you're going to need additional chairs. You're going to need more. The next word is advice. Advice is a noun and it means ideas or suggestions offered to help someone with a problem or situation. So when someone gives you an idea or helps you with a problem that you have, that is called advice. And we usually ask for advice when you have a problem or you need to make a decision about something and you're not sure what to do. The example says, Gary asked Celine for advice about training his frisky dog, Peanuts. So in this sentence, Celine is the person who's giving the advice, and Gary asked her. So Gary has a dog named Peanuts, and Peanuts maybe doesn't listen very much to Gary. He's a little bit frisky, he kind of does whatever he wants. And Gary is not sure what he should do, so he asked Celine to help with training his dog, Peanuts. Maybe Celine is someone who really knows a lot about training dogs. So we usually ask advice to people who might know more than we know about something. Another example could be, I asked my teacher for advice about improving my writing. Or, Grandpa always gives good advice when I have a problem. And one more example could be, the doctor gave us advice about staying healthy. The next word is crumple. Crumple is a verb and it means to crush together, to bend or press into creases or wrinkles. For example, Sue's shirt was crumpled after she stuffed it into the bottom of her bag and forgot about it. So a crumpled shirt might look like this one here in this picture. If you just stuff it into a bag without really folding it carefully, then it's going to get a bunch of wrinkles and creases like this. So now I can say that this shirt is crumpled. When something crumples, it can become full of wrinkles, but we can also kind of crush it as if you were crushing a can, like in this video here. So I can say, the empty soda can crumpled when I put it into the crushing machine. Or you can even step on a can or squeeze it with your hands and crumple it that way. Another thing that you might crumple is paper. You can easily just crush it in your hands and now the paper becomes creased and wrinkled, so it is crumpled. I can make a sentence like, please don't crumple your worksheet before turning it in to your teacher. The next word is fan. And there's quite a few different ways that we can use the word fan. Of course, the most common one is when we're talking about this electric machine here, or even a fan that you hold in your hand. That's the simplest definition that we all already know. Just to go over the one in the book one more time, something that causes air to move in order to cool whatever it blows on. Some are made of folded stiff material and can be spread open for use. Others are machines with blades that run on electricity. The example says, on hot summer days, the ceiling fan keeps the living room very comfortable. So that's the basic definition of fan that I'm sure we all already know. I'm not going to spend more time on this one. Instead, there's other ways we can use this word that you might not yet know about. And the one that I really want to spend the most time on is this one here. It is to spread in the shape of an opened fan. And we often use it together with the word out. The example says, the students fanned out over the park, picking up any paper trash or empty bottles they found. So this phrase, fanned out, We use it to talk about a group of people or animals that are spreading out. So maybe they all started in one place and then they moved away, kind of in the shape of what an open fan would look like. Just like in this picture here, where the people in the park have spread out to pick up the trash. They're not just all in one place, but maybe they started in one place and then they moved out in the shape of a fan. So we would call that fanning out. Another example would be the search team fanned out across the field. If there's a team of people searching for a lost child, they might walk away in the same shape. Or if you think about an animal, we can think about the peacock. It has a tail that when it opens, it kind of looks like a fan. So I can say the peacock fanned out its colorful tail feathers. So this is a very good way that we can use this word fan. Another way we can use it is as a noun, and it means someone who closely follows a group, team, or person. For example, the fans cheered loudly when their soccer team ran onto the field. So in this way, a fan is someone who really likes and supports a team, a group, or even a performer like a singer or a dancer. Just like in this picture here, there are many fans who are all wearing orange watching a sports game. The last way we can use the word fan is as a verb, and it means to move air with an open fan or something similar. For example, Gracie fanned herself with a folded newspaper. So now you can think about the action of making wind. Usually with your hand, if you're very hot, you might use your hand to fan your face on a hot day. Or if you're eating some hot soup, you might blow on the soup to cool it down. So we can call that fanning. She fanned the hot soup to help it cool down. There's even some cool inventions like this chopstick with a fan attached to it to fan the hot noodles. So this is another good way that we can use this simple word fan in a more complicated way. The next word is memorize. Memorize is a verb and it means to fix in one's memory exactly, to learn by heart. So when you memorize something, you learn it so well that you can remember it without looking. And you can memorize many things like songs, poems, phone numbers, facts for a test, names of people. There's an endless amount of things that you can memorize. The example says, "It amazes me how quickly Gerard can memorize the words of a song he has heard." So usually for people, memorizing words of songs is very simple because it's very fun to repeat a song over and over again. And when you do something many times, that helps your brain memorize it. Some other examples would be, she memorized the multiplication table by practicing every day. Something people often memorize is their multiplication tables. Or I could also say, you should try to memorize your parents' phone numbers in case of an emergency. The next word is mystify. Mystify is a verb and it means to confuse or puzzle someone. When something mystifies you, it confuses or puzzles you because you can't figure out how or why it happened. It really makes you think, how did that happen? The example says, how Colleen was able to find the right card mystified all of us. So in this sentence, there might just be a group of cards or a deck of cards, and this person, Colleen, was able to right away find the correct card from the giant stack of cards. So it kind of surprised or puzzled everyone how she was able to do it. This sounds like it could be part of a magic trick. And this word mystify might be something that you often use if you're talking about a magician or a magic trick. I could say something like, the magician mystified us by making a coin disappear from his hand. You could also say something funny like this here. There's a picture of a cat opening a door. I could say, my cat's ability to open the door mystifies me. So it confuses me or it puzzles me how the cat was able to figure out that it can open the door. Maybe we can use it when some animal is smarter than we expected them to be. I could also say something like, the scientist was mystified when the experiment gave a completely unexpected result. So if something that you don't expect to happen does happen, then that can confuse or puzzle you. So it would be great to use this word mystify. The next word is pause. Pause can be used as a verb to mean to stop for a short time before going on. And we can also use pause as a noun to mean a short break or rest from what has been going on. So anytime that you stop something for a short time and then continue it later on, that is what we call a pause. The example says, Ms. Bonaire paused to see if we had questions and then finished giving us the directions for the game. So teachers will often pause during the class, either to see if the students have any questions or if students need some time to finish writing their notes or their assignments. So anytime that a teacher stops her lesson, that would be called a pause. Another example is your actual pause button on your remote control. You could say something like, I paused the movie when I went to get a snack. So if you're watching a movie and you hit this pause button, then the movie will stop and later you can start it one more time. So that time that it was stopped is called the pause. I could also make a sentence like, the runner paused for a moment to tie her shoe and then kept going on. And remember, pause, of course, is often used as a verb, but we can also use it as a noun. The example here says, after a short pause to catch her breath, Alexis set off for the top of the hill. So in this sentence here, a short pause is kind of being used as the same way that we use the word break, after a break, after a short pause. So someone is just stopping and then starting later on again. The next word is transparent. Transparent is an adjective and it means allowing light to pass through freely so that one can see clearly. So we can see these things clearly because light is able to go right through it. So clear glass and clean water are good examples of some transparent things. The example says, several kinds of fish swam past us in the transparent waters of the lake. And a transparent lake might look like this one here. You can see there's a boat on the lake, but the water is so transparent that you can see everything that's underneath the water. Of course, glass is something that is transparent. You can usually see through the glass to see what's inside of a building. And another example of something transparent could be something like the wings of an insect. Just like this dragonfly here, it has transparent wings. Maybe you can't perfectly see through the wings. They're not clear, but they are transparent. I can see that there is light coming from the other side. Our final word is vanish. Vanish is a verb and it means to go out of sight, to disappear. For example, as the ship headed out into the channel, the land vanished under a layer of early morning fog. So when something vanishes, it means it disappears from your sight. That doesn't mean that it's gone forever and no one will ever see it again. Instead, you are not able to see it. or maybe many people are not able to see it. For example, here in this picture, you can see that there is a ship in the ocean, but it's also very foggy. Fog is something that often causes things to look like they have vanished. The farther away that it goes, the more we think that something has vanished. Another example is this dog here jumping into the snow. The snow is so deep that when the dog jumps in, it vanishes. You can't see it anymore. And we often say that magicians might know how to vanish. They could have some magic tricks where they appear like they have disappeared, but it's just a trick. Either way, we would say the magician amazed everyone when he suddenly vanished. I could also make some simple sentences like, the rabbit vanished into its hole when it saw us coming, or the deer vanished into the forest before I could take a picture. And lastly, the rainbow slowly vanished as the rain stopped. And that's all for this video. We went over the Wordly Wise Book 3, Lesson 7 words. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye!